We're going to stay with health and care now because Dr. Ellie Cannon joins us to talk about prescriptions. Good morning, Dr. Ellie.
Morning.
Morning.
So at the moment, England's the only country in the UK that still charges for prescriptions, and there is speculation that prices for prescriptions will go up as of April the 1st.
Yes, that's right. So we're the only one of the devolved nations who still charge in England. So every time somebody picks up one prescription item, it's £9.35, so the better part of £10, which is really quite expensive, particularly if you have some sort of chronic illness, for example, asthma, where you need inhalers every month just to be able to breathe. So it all seems quite unfair why England still has these charges, which may even go up, which is pretty expensive. But in Scotland and Wales, people aren't paying for their prescriptions.
Now, at the moment in England, prescriptions are free for 60 to 65-year-olds, but the government are also saying that that might be changing that rule.
Yeah, that's right. So there's lots of different exemptions for prescription charges, which is also really sort of quite unusual, quite a strange list, which is hard for people to understand. But one of the exemptions, like many things, is to do with age. So it was always over the age of 60, but with retirement age going up, it is being mooted whether or not we also increase the age at which you stop paying for prescriptions, which again, when people are thinking about sort of inflation and anyway rising fuel prices and everything else, it's another additional cost, when really the NHS is free, obviously, at the point of contact. You don't pay when you come into the GP surgery or into a hospital appointment, but people are paying for their prescriptions, which can be quite a burden.
Yeah. And I suppose this is where it gets slightly confusing, because if you long-term illnesses, some of them are exempt from charges, others aren't, and things are changing the whole time, aren't they? Tell us about this list. Why is it changing? Why is this happening?
So it's really interesting, the list, and I've been a GP now for 15 years, and it's one of these things within the NHS that I just can't understand myself. So the list was written in 1968, and there's a list of illnesses, mainly actually illnesses where people need to take hormones. So, for example, thyroid disease, Addison's disease, diabetes, where people have to take insulin, obviously. And that list hasn't actually changed in the last 50 years. So there was one change in 2009 when cancer was added, but otherwise it hasn't changed. Whereas when you think that in 1968 we hadn't even heard about HIV, for example, we didn't think about treating people with heart disease because we didn't really know about statins or things like that. It's really archaic.
Yeah. Okay.
Ellie, we are about to see a film that you made on prescription prepayment certificates that can help with costs. But before we see it, what exactly are they, please?
So rather than paying for each item, like I just mentioned, you can actually do a prepay system, and it costs around £110 a year, which you pay out all in one go. But what that means is then every time you pick up an item, you don't have to pay. And if you do have a chronic illness where you're picking up a couple of items a month, then it actually works out better value. And that's something you can look for online. If you look up prepayment certificate, or your pharmacist should be able to help you organise that.
Ellie, thank you for that, because this is really interesting, because Ellie actually went to meet two women who are affected, I should say, by the charges, to hear how it impacts their day-to-day lives.
When I was first diagnosed, medication was a big deal for me, knowing I was going to be on medication probably for the rest of my life unless some miracle cure comes along.
I was born with a liver disease called neonatal hemochromatosis. So I had a liver transplant at 19 days old and have needed to take medication ever since.
It was a real process of trial and error at the beginning. They tried me on a couple of different medications. My mum told me about a prescription certificate, prepayment certificate, but I didn't know about that at the start, so I was paying for multiple prescriptions. It's a kind of quite mucky area to kind of work out what you're doing when you're first diagnosed and you don't know a lot about it. There's not a lot of information around.
So I first started having to pay for medications when I was 19 and at university. It was quite a shock, to be honest, because I just went to the pharmacy one day and they were like, you need to pay for your medication. And it was, I think it was over £30, but I didn't always have £30 to spare at uni. I'd asked my mum to help out. And I think a couple of times I ended up in the student overdraft.
Do you believe that paying prescription charges stops you spending money on other things, for your health even? It feels such a challenge to know that you've got the whole of your life ahead of you and you're going to be paying for prescriptions the whole of that time. You don't know how you're going to financially be over that period of time. Even for the prescription certificate, it's sort of £10 a month. Actually, that £10 a month could be using that for physio for my neck or something like that.
I have been known to eke out the medication, so if I'm supposed to take it twice a day, and if I was coming to the end and knew I didn't have enough money, I would just take it once a day.
Emma, I know you've been involved in the campaign against prescription charges. Can you tell me a bit about how you got involved in that?
I spoke to Parkinson's UK about the fact that I was disgruntled. I realised that they had this campaign that they were working on with the Prescriptions Coalition, so a group of other charities who are working to help people in similar situations, and we delivered a petition to Parliament, to Downing Street. It was a really empowering thing to do and to feel like I'm actually doing something towards making a change, hopefully.
I think it would be great if the government at least reviewed the list of illnesses that are exempt from paying and come up with a solution, or subsidise for people, subsidise for students, just do something to make it a bit fairer. Medication
is not a luxury, it's something we have to have.
If I didn't take my medicine, my body would reject my liver and I would die. So why should I have to pay to be alive?